Hi there everybody, Amanda Gordon here, and thank you so much for tuning in and watching my video. Please make sure you like and subscribe to my channel so you can see all the exciting videos that I post. So today I would like to do a little introduction on the national season of 2020. So let me just start off by saying we all know that 2020 has been a crapshoot from the beginning. It is the year of the COVID pandemic, which messed up everybody's lives, including the NPC. So this season, I had planned on competing in every national show that I could in order to try and earn my pro card. If you recall the video that I did for last year at the Teen Collegiate and Masters Nationals, my very first national show, I placed in the top 5. So I thought that this year was going to be great. I got judges' feedback from the last show. They said I needed to put on a little bit more muscle in my shoulders and in my glutes. So I worked really hard over the second half of the year to do that. And I put on about 8 pounds of muscle, which is quite a lot. And I was looking really good. So the competition season was supposed to start May 15th with the Junior USAs. And I was scheduled to do that show. We had our airline tickets purchased. Everything was set in motion. I had been in prep, dieting, doing everything I'm supposed to do. And then the COVID hit and the lockdowns hit. So of course, what happens? The show got canceled. So we thought, no big deal. We'll just take a week off and go out of prep for just a little bit, have a few cheat meals, and then go right back into it. And we'll hit the next show, which was supposed to be the national show. I think it was supposed to be in Chicago. And that one got about 3 weeks out from it, and it got canceled. Went out of prep again, went back in, and the next one got canceled. So at this point, it is mid-June, and I'm thinking, okay, well, surely this isn't going to last too much longer. None of us thought that COVID was going to last as long as it has. But unfortunately, nobody could have foreseen all of the consequences of the lockdowns and how long this was going to last. So I had essentially been in prep for almost 6 months, and my body was not happy. I was starting to get really irritated, and there was no end in sight. You know, am I ever going to be able to compete this year? Am I going to lose my national, qualification? What's going to happen? So finally, the shows started getting rescheduled, and instead of spacing them out over the summer into the end of the year, they essentially crammed all of the national shows into about a 3 to 4 month time period. So the very first show that I was supposed to do, Junior USAs, was now back again to being the first show on the schedule. It was the very last weekend of August. Then the North Americans were in Pittsburgh, and they were going to be about literally 5 days later. I was going to stand on stage again. And then I was going to go again for the Teen and Collegiate like I did last year, and basically just hit every single show. So what ended up happening, we went to the Junior USAs, which was held in Charleston, South Carolina. And when I went to compete at that show, I mean, it was just, everything went wrong. And sometimes that happens, and you learn from each show, and you can just try to prepare a little bit better for the next time around. First thing that happened was I decided to pay somebody to do my makeup, and thinking this is going to be great. I'm going to look amazing, but that was not the case. The bikini I had planned on wearing was my sapphire blue one. Loved that bikini. I looked absolutely great in it. And so I had the makeup artist do my eye makeup just a little bit to match my suit. But when she finished with me and I looked in the mirror, I was horrified. I had paid this woman $150 to do my makeup, and I had eyebrows like Groucho Marx. They were huge. They did not fit my face. I had blue eyeshadow practically up to those eyebrows and fake lashes and rouge just to boot. I mean, it did not look natural whatsoever. But there was no time to fix it. Now, bear in mind, I was supposed to compete 6 months earlier, and I wanted my hair to be a little bit longer and thicker for this season, so I bought a hair piece, and it was a really nice hair piece, very expensive, and a lot of the bikini competitors wear them. And I put this thing on, and it was like having an entire new set of hair. It was so heavy and so thick and so hot. And not to mention, in South Carolina in August, it was sweltering. So the whole backstage process, you had to wear a mask. You had to take very little with you, and they were shuttling you from room to room. You were not allowed to go into the audience, even if your loved ones were sitting out there. You had to stay backstage long enough to go onto stage, get your routines and comparisons done, and then get shoved right out the back door, literally onto the street, where you're standing there in your high heels and bikini on the street. And it was just so mind-boggling the way the whole thing was run. So anyway, right before I got to the point where I was about to stand on stage, I had brought 2 bikinis with me. Always want to have a spare. And I had brought my red one and my blue one. Plan on wearing the blue, of course, makeup, everything, you know, matching the blue, fingers, toes, matched my blue. And right before I got ready to step onto stage, the back connector piece that goes around my back on the top broke. And there was no fixing it. There was no safety pinning it. There was no gluing it. It simply was gone. So I had no choice. I had to change into my red bikini. So now I look completely mismatched, or very patriotic, depending on how you want to look at the situation. All in all, I was not comfortable. The second thing that ended up happening was I walked onto the stage and realized very quickly I stuck out like a sore thumb. It was like teeny tiny, skinny, stick thin girls, but super, super hard and lean. Nothing like what I had been competing against in the past. So, of course, I got judged very badly. This was probably the worst show I have ever come away from. I got 3rd call-outs, which is completely foreign to me when you're used to being on the top. And it was really a letdown, and I really couldn't understand, you know, I felt huge. I felt like Godzilla attacking the city next to these women. So, obviously, I was not going to get a placement or anything like that at this show. So I decided, when we ran into one of the judges at the hotel, I thought, I'm just going to take a leap here, and I'm going to go talk to him and ask for some direct feedback. And he remembered who I was, and he pulled out his notes on me. And one of the things that he said is, "You are too muscular." And I said, I am confused. I was told last year by the same panel of judges that I needed to gain muscle. And I showed him pictures on my phone from the national show last year where I placed top 5. And he said, yes, if you had looked like this today, you would have placed much better. I said, well, I'm confused. Why was I told to put on more muscle? He said, well, they introduced the wellness division this year. Wellness is a brand new division within the NPC and IFBB that is like bikini, but a little bit more muscular arms and shoulders and more muscular thighs and glutes. Still very thin waist, very tiny and lean, but just a little bit more muscular in those areas. He said if I had competed in the wellness division, I probably would have done much better. but I couldn't have competed wellness because I have never competed wellness. It was a brand new division, and I was qualified in bikini, so I couldn't have done that anyway. So I was told, you need to lose a lot of this muscle. You need to burn it off and try again. So if you recall, our next stop was going to be the North Americans in Pittsburgh only 5 days later. Well, there is no way that any human can burn off that much muscle in only 5 days. Even if you completely starve yourself, you can't do it. So my husband and I made the joint decision to not go to that show and to save our money and go home, take that 6 weeks to really diet down hard, and then try again for the Masters Nationals about 6 weeks later. So that's what we did, and that one turned out a little bit better. I'll tell you a little bit about that one at the beginning of that video that I do that'll be coming soon. But all in all, a lot of things went wrong. A lot of things that I had been told and not been told were not what they were this year. And it really affected me. It affected my self-confidence. I almost said, forget it. I don't want to compete anymore because this, it's such a subjective sport. But you have to be able to roll with the punches. Sometimes you're on the top, sometimes you're on the bottom. And you can only go based on who you're standing on stage next to. But it was a great learning experience. For one thing, I learned always be over-prepared. You can never be too over-prepared. Always have that backup bikini. Always do your makeup in more of a neutral, so you don't end up with mismatched colors. Do your nails and your toes neutral. Anything that, can really go with about any color. And I came to find out that really that hairpiece that I was wearing, I really didn't need it, because when I had purchased it, it was at the beginning of the year, and that's when I was planning on competing. But since everything got pushed back almost 8 months, that had given my hair plenty of time to grow. So I really didn't need that hairpiece anymore. So made a few changes going into the next show, and it turned out a lot better, as you will find out. But for now, thanks for listening to this long introduction. I know it's been a bit lengthy and time consuming, but again, there were just so many things about this particular show that were different, and education is key. And if somebody out there that's a competitor or thinking about being a competitor watches this and can learn a little something from what my experience was, then I'm happy to have this video out there. So please enjoy. Don't expect me to walk away with a medal on this one, because it didn't happen, but it was still a good experience. So have a great day, guys. Thanks so much.
When marimba rhythms start to play, dance with me, make me sway, like a lazy ocean hugs the shore.
Woohoo! 328!
Woo! 328! Woo! You got this! Woo! Go, 328! Woo!
Breathe out, babe, breathe out!
Sway me more.
323, Kelly Mueller. Number 324, Elliot Burns. Number 326, Kara Klum. And number 328, Amanda Gordon.
Woo!
Ladies, turn to face the rear, please. And face forward. Thank you, ladies. You can file off to your left.
like a flower bending in the breeze.
There you go, baby. 328. There you go, baby. Squeeze it out. Hold it.
Okay, ladies, let's do 180. Face that back wall. And face forward.
Look good, baby.
Okay, ladies, you're going to file off. You'll be back in division.
Bend with me, sway with ease. But when you dance, you have to pay with me. Stay with me, sway with me. Other dancers may be on the floor, dear, but my eyes will see only you. Only you have that magic technique. When we sway, I go weak. I can hear the sound of violins long before it begins. Make me thrill as only you know how.